There is a number that completely changes how money works. Not a secret interest rate, not a hidden investment, just a number, $100,000. And the moment your net worth crosses that line, something almost magical starts to happen. Something that almost nobody explains properly and almost nobody sees coming. Your money starts making more money faster than you can earn it yourself. And today, I am going to show you exactly why that happens, exactly how to reach that number faster than you think, and the one specific move that most people skip that cuts the timeline in half. Here is exactly what I am going to walk you through. Promise 1 is the real mathematical reason your net worth accelerates after $100,000. Not a motivational speech, but the actual math. Promise 2 is the 3 biggest mistakes people make in the $0 to $100,000 phase that keep them stuck for years longer than they need to be. Promise 3 is the specific savings and investment structure that gets you to $100,000 in the shortest time possible, regardless of your income level. Promise 4 is what happens after $100,000, the exact sequence of moves that turns $100,000 into $500,000. And Promise 5 is the one advanced strategy that most financial advisors never bring up, but that can shave 2 to 4 years off your timeline on its own. My name is Marcus. I cover personal finance, wealth building, and the strategies that actually move the needle for regular people who are serious about building something real. So let me start with the math, because until you see the actual numbers, this all sounds like motivational content. And it is not motivational content. It is arithmetic. Say you have $10,000 invested. You earn 7% on it in a year, which is roughly the long-run average of a broad stock market index fund after inflation. That is $700. Nice. But $700 is not going to change your life. You probably earn that in a few days at work. The number is too small to feel meaningful, and that is precisely the problem in the early stages of wealth building. The returns are mathematically real, but they feel irrelevant compared to your income. Your job is doing more work than your money. Now say you have $100,000 invested at that same 7%. That is $7,000 a year, just under $600 a month. Now your money is doing the equivalent of a part-time job for you. You did not apply for that job. You did not interview for it. You did not clock in or out. It just happened because you crossed the threshold. Now say you are at $250,000, 7%. $17,500 a year. That is more than $1,400 a month. A full rent or mortgage payment, generated passively, and you have not touched the principal. This is what people mean when they talk about compounding. But here is the piece that almost nobody explains clearly. Compounding does not feel powerful until your base is large enough that the returns are meaningful relative to your life. At $10,000, 7% is noise. At $100,000, 7% starts to matter. At $250,000, 7% starts to feel like a second income. The math does not change. What changes is the size of the base it is operating on. Charlie Munger, Warren Buffett's longtime business partner, was asked once about the most important financial principle most people miss. His answer was 2 words: the base. He said most people spend their entire financial life trying to maximize the rate of return and spend almost no time thinking about how to build the base as fast as possible. Because once the base is large enough, even a modest rate of return does extraordinary things. That is why the first $100,000 is the hardest. And it is also why it is the most important. Every dollar you build into that base is a dollar that starts compounding for you permanently. The work you put in before $100,000 is the most leveraged work you will ever do financially. Now here are the 3 biggest mistakes people make in the 0 to 100,000 phase. And these are mistakes I see constantly, not edge cases. Mistake number 1. Optimizing for rate of return before optimizing for savings rate. This is the most common one. People spend hours researching whether to put their money in a fund that returns 7.2% versus one that returns 6.8%. That difference on $10,000 is $40 a year. $40. Meanwhile, the same person is spending $200 a month on subscriptions they do not use, or carrying a $2,000 credit card balance at 22% interest. The math on eliminating high-interest debt is better than almost any investment you can make. A 22% guaranteed return, which is what you get by paying off a 22% credit card, beats the stock market in most years. And yet people are picking between index funds while carrying that balance. Fix the savings rate first. Fix the debt first. The rate of return becomes important later, when the base is larger. Mistake number 2, not automating the investment. This sounds simple. It is not. Studies consistently show that people who automate their savings and investment contributions, meaning the money moves from their paycheck into an investment account before they ever see it, save significantly more than people who transfer manually, even when their intention is identical. The intention to save and the act of saving are two different things. Automation removes the decision from the equation. You set it once. It runs. The money builds. If you are not automating your contributions right now, whether to a 401k, an IRA, a brokerage account, that is the first thing to fix after this video. Mistake number 3. Treating every financial setback as a reason to stop. This one is harder to talk about because it is emotional, not mathematical. Here is what happens in the real world. Someone gets to $40,000 saved. Then the car breaks down, or there is a medical bill, or they lose a job for 3 months, and the $40,000 goes back down to $20,000. And the emotional experience of seeing 2 years of work erased feels catastrophic. So they stop. They stop contributing. They pull back. They tell themselves they will restart when things are more stable. And the timeline extends by years, not because of the setback itself, but because of the stopping. The setback is recoverable. The stopping is what kills the timeline. I have seen people at $80,000 who had previously hit $95,000, lost $30,000, rebuilt, and are now past the threshold. The number of times they crossed below various milestones does not matter. The direction of the long-run trend is what matters. Now, given all of that, given the math, given the mistakes to avoid, here is the specific structure that gets most people to $100,000 in the shortest time. Step 1. Eliminate high-interest debt first. Anything above 8% interest goes first. Pay minimum on everything else. Attack the highest rate. This is not controversial advice. It is math. Step 2. Build a 3 to 6 month emergency fund in a high-yield savings account. Right now, in mid-2025, you can find high-yield savings accounts offering 4.5% to 5%. That money needs to be liquid. It needs to be there when the car breaks down so that you do not have to touch your investments. The emergency fund is not optional. It is the thing that keeps you from doing mistake number 3. Step 3. Max out any tax-advantaged accounts available to you, starting with your employer's 401k up to the match. If your employer matches contributions and you are not contributing enough to get the full match, you are leaving free money on the table. Literally free. A 100% return on day one. There is no investment in the world with that kind of guaranteed return. Step 4. After the match, contribute to a Roth IRA if you are within the income limits. In 2025, the contribution limit is $7,000 per year, or $8,000 if you are over 50. A Roth IRA grows tax-free, and withdrawals in retirement are tax-free. For someone in the 0 to 100,000 phase, this is one of the most powerful tools available. Step 5. Any income above your expenses and the above contributions goes into a taxable brokerage account, invested in broad, low-cost index funds. Not individual stocks, not crypto as a core holding. Index funds, low-cost, diversified, hold long-term. The research on this is not ambiguous. The vast majority of active investors underperform the index over a 15-year period. This is not a complicated structure. It is not exciting. It will feel boring for years. And then at some point you will check your account and you will have crossed $100,000 and you will realize that your money is now earning more in a year than most people's second job, and it will stop feeling boring. Now, what happens after 100,000? Because the game changes. After you cross 100,000, the math begins working noticeably for you, but the strategy shifts slightly. Here is the sequence. Between 100,000 and 250,000, your primary goal is the same. Maximize contributions, keep expenses controlled, stay invested. But you can start to diversify a bit further, not into speculative assets, into things like real estate investment trusts, if you want some real estate exposure without owning a property, or international index funds for geographic diversification, or slightly tilting towards small cap value, which has historically outperformed large cap over long periods, though with more short-term volatility. At 250,000, your passive income from a 7% return is approaching $18,000 per year. You are starting to approach what some financial independence researchers call the first threshold of financial relevance, the point where your investment income alone could cover a meaningful portion of basic living expenses. You are not financially independent at $250,000 on its own, but you are in a materially different position than someone with zero. The path from $250,000 to $500,000, and then from $500,000 toward $1 million and beyond, follows the same principles with increasing scale. The base does the work. You keep feeding it. You do not withdraw. You let the compounding run. There is one more thing I want to cover before I close. The advanced move I mentioned at the top. Almost nobody uses this, including people who are otherwise sophisticated investors. It is called tax loss harvesting. Here is how it works. In a taxable brokerage account, when one of your holdings is temporarily down, not permanently down, just temporarily below what you paid, you can sell it, realize the loss on paper, and immediately buy something similar but not identical. The IRS has what is called the wash sale rule, which says you cannot rebuy the same or substantially identical security within 30 days, so you buy something close. A different index fund that tracks a similar but distinct index, and you use the paper loss to offset gains elsewhere in your portfolio, reducing your tax bill. The tax savings compound over time. Research from Vanguard estimates that systematic tax loss harvesting can add anywhere from 0.5 to 1.5% of additional after-tax return per year, depending on market conditions and your tax bracket. On a $250,000 portfolio, that is $1,200 to $3,700 per year in tax savings. Return to you not because you picked a better investment, but because you managed the tax liability more carefully. Most of the major brokerage platforms now automate this. Fidelity, Schwab, and several robo-advisors offer automated tax loss harvesting as part of their standard accounts. If you are in a 401k or an IRA, this does not apply. Those accounts are already tax-advantaged. Tax loss harvesting only matters in taxable brokerage accounts. But if you have taxable investment accounts and you are not doing this, you are leaving money on the table every year. Here is what I want you to take away from this. The reason net worth explodes after $100,000 is not luck. It is not some secret that only rich people know. It is a mathematical reality that becomes visible once the base is large enough for the compounding to feel real. The work you do before you hit $100,000 is the most leveraged financial work of your life. Every dollar you put in during that phase works for you permanently. The structure to get there is not complicated. Eliminate high-interest debt, automate your savings, max your tax-advantaged accounts, invest the rest in low-cost index funds, and do not stop when things get hard. If this video gave you something useful, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. That is genuinely how the algorithm gets this in front of more people who need it. And if you have a friend or a family member who is in the early stages of building wealth, someone who feels like they are working hard but not seeing the number move, send them this video. The math I walked through today is the thing most people do not see clearly until it is already working against them. I will see you in the next video.